Hey guys!
We are EduStock, an AI-powered financial assistant. We give the best advice to help financially make young adults financially literate. We use live market data and apply topological data analysis to the markets, as well as sentiment analysis on companies in the past 7 years to help accurately predict stock market prices for young adults. Powers EduStock. It takes in inputs from topological data, financial data, as well as sentiment scores based on the companies. It then uses this to compute the RSI and the relative strength index, the volatility of the stock, and the liquidity of stock. And then finally, it outputs a monthly index for each of the S&P 500 stocks for the next given month.
Doc API to scrape URLs related to the S&P 500, and we get the title of each article and we try to find the sentiment related to that article. We get positive, negative, and neutral sentiments. We start at 2018 January 1st and end at 2025, and we get each month's data. We store it to a file and then we parse it later to get the sentiment.
Plug and face model that's help classify the sentiment of each of the titles. Our output is an integer, -1, 0, or 1. 1 represents a positive sentiment, 0 represents a neutral sentiment, and a -1 represents a negative sentiment towards each of the companies on the S&P 500. So once we get that, we then are able to write that to our S&P 500 data originally. Through that, so we now have all of our data from our backend. We have our topology data, we have our S&P financial data, and now we finally have our sentiment data for each of the companies. So we then use this data in a LSTM network. An LSTM network is just a type of RNN network, which stands for recurrent neural network, which is mainly for time series data and helping predict features. So those are our feature vectors there. And then we normalize all our features, put it in the model, and we get an output of a monthly return.
Topology for our data analysis, and the max dimensions we have is 2, and the graph is only going to be the first 100 just for computational purposes. And as we can see, there's some with 1 hole and 2 holes and a lot with 0 holes. So let's see how that plays out in our chart down below. We just use NumPy to scale these things and then send it to our AI. And as you can see down here, the Werenstein distance for the 2020 crash, this is really high, and it indicates that there was a crash here. So it shows that the market can be predicted with such variables.
This is our portfolio. It shows us a bunch of metrics that you can use. And let's move on to the crisis prediction part. This shows us a graph that predicts crises before they happen, and as you can see in the Wasserstein distances, it increases before the crisis actually happens. And after that, we can see here in the AI stock recommendations, the model tells us which stocks are best to buy right now, today, for the best returns for tomorrow. There's also an AI financial assistant that you can ask any questions to. Moving on to the simulator, we can edit the start and end dates of the simulation. Let's run our simulation right now. And as you can see, our model returns a considerable amount better than the market returns.